I've never been the kind of guy who loses his temper. But that night, standing alone in the freezing woods, no phone, no food, just a half-empty bottle of water, I realized my so-called friends didn't just prank me, they left me to die. It all started the weekend before. We'd planned a fishing and camping trip, me, Josh, and Dylan. We'd been friends since high school, the kind of guys who'd roast each other for fun but always had each other's backs. At least that's what I thought. Josh was the loud one, the guy who always needed attention. Dylan was quieter, more observant, but he followed Josh like a shadow. I was the chill one, the driver, the planner, the guy who kept things organized. So naturally, I was the one who brought the gear, food, and gas for the 3-hour trip to Lake Sutter. We arrived late afternoon. The air smelled like pine and cold water. The sun hit the lake just right, that golden shimmer you only see in outdoor magazines. I remember thinking this might be the one good weekend we've had in months. We set up camp near the waterline. The fire crackled, and for a while, it actually felt like old times, laughing, drinking, telling stories about the girls we dated and the dumb stuff we did as teenagers. But around midnight, Josh started getting that look. The one that meant he had some great idea. "Hey," he said, grinning, "let's play a game. You blindfold yourself, we'll lead you out into the woods, and you've got to find your way back with just your instincts. Like survival training." Dylan laughed. "Yeah, come on, man. You're the prepared one, right?" I didn't love the idea, but they kept pushing. "What's wrong, man? You scared?" Josh teased. I finally sighed. "Fine. Just make sure you don't wander too far. I'm not trying to end up on a missing person poster." They laughed, handed me a bandana, and spun me around like it was some campfire game. I could hear them joking and walking, branches cracking, gravel crunching, until everything went quiet. After a few minutes, I pulled the blindfold off. No one was there. Just trees. The faint sound of the lake behind me. I shouted, "All right, guys. Game's over." No answer. I started walking toward where I thought camp was, but after 15 minutes I realized the sound of the lake was gone. I must have turned the wrong way. My phone? Gone? They told me to leave it by the fire so you don't cheat. At first, I laughed to myself, thinking they were just trying to scare me. But when I returned to where we'd parked the truck earlier and found nothing, no tracks, no lights, no sound, that's when it hit me. They weren't coming back. By morning, the temperature had dropped below 40. I had no food, barely any water, and my voice was gone from yelling. The forest was still, except for the distant echo of something moving. Maybe an animal, maybe the wind, maybe just my mind starting to play tricks on me. Then I saw it, their boat, out on the lake maybe 100 yards from shore. Josh stood on deck, laughing, holding up a beer. "Hey, survivor man," he shouted. "You still alive?" Dylan was recording on his phone. They thought it was funny. I wanted to scream, to swim after them, to throw something, but I didn't. I just stared. My hands shook, not from cold, but from something deeper. Something boiling. That's the thing about being left alone. It strips away everything fake. The jokes, the friendship, the noise. What's left is just you, and the truth. They thought they were playing a prank. But in that moment, standing in those woods, I made a promise to myself. They'd regret ever leaving me out there. By the time I found my way back to the main road, it had been nearly 30 hours. My throat was dry, my legs were trembling, and my head buzzed from lack of sleep. A truck driver spotted me walking barefoot along the asphalt and slowed down. "You all right, man?" he asked. I gave a weak smile. "Yeah. Camping trip went wrong." He gave me a bottle of water, let me ride in the back until we reached town. The first thing I did was go to a gas station, buy food, and sit in the corner, shaking, not from fear but from how close I came to dying over a joke. When I turned my phone on, I saw it. A video posted on Josh's Instagram. "Left our boy in the wild. Let's see if he makes it back," face with tears of joy. Thousands of views. Comments full of laughing emojis. People saying, "Bro's probably crying in the woods," and "This is legendary." Legendary. They turned my near death into entertainment. That was the exact moment I stopped being their friend and started becoming something else. I didn't call them. Didn't post anything. Instead, I waited. I knew how they thought. Josh always needed to brag, always needed people to know he was the alpha. So a week later, I sent him a text. "No hard feelings, man. Got back safe. You guys got me good," face with tears of joy. He replied right away. "Haha, bro. We were worried you'd be pissed. You're a legend, man. We gotta do it again sometime." "Do it again." I smiled at the screen. "Sure," I typed back. "Next weekend. My treat." He didn't know that while he was drinking and bragging online, I'd already planned everything. I borrowed my uncle's old cabin near the lake, the one hidden behind a wall of pine trees, no cell service, no cameras. I cleaned it up, fixed the power, and set a few things up that would, let's just say, teach them a lesson. When Friday came, I loaded my truck with coolers, fishing gear, and just enough beer to make it look innocent. Josh and Dylan pulled up 20 minutes late, blasting music, laughing like nothing ever happened. "Man, you actually invited us again?" Josh said, grinning. "Guess you're tougher than we thought." I shrugged. "Guess so. Let's make it a good one." They didn't notice how quiet I was, or how I avoided looking at the lake. They thought I'd forgiven them. But forgiveness was never part of the plan. That night we set up by the cabin. I cooked, they drank. Josh bragged about how many likes the video got. Dylan tried to act nice, but every time he laughed I could still see the image of him recording me in the woods. When the time felt right, I said, "Hey, you guys want to see something crazy? The view from the dock at night, it's insane." Josh grabbed a beer. "Hell yeah." We walked down to the old dock, the one with loose boards and deep water beneath. "Man, it's pitch black," Dylan said. "Yeah," I whispered. "Just like that night." Josh laughed, not realizing what I meant. Until I turned to him and said quietly, "Remember how you left me out there? No phone. No food. No way back." He blinked. "Dude, we were just messing around." "Right," I said. "Just messing around." Then I stepped forward. Josh froze. Even in the dark, I could see his grin fade. The cold wind off the lake whistled through the trees, and for a long second, no one said a word. Only the soft lapping of the water below us. Dylan muttered, "Come on, man." Was a joke. "We didn't think you'd take it that hard." I stepped closer to the edge of the dock, my shoes creaking against the wet wood. "You left me 30 miles from the nearest road," I said quietly. "I thought I was going to die out there." "You filmed it?" "You laughed. You posted it for likes." Josh tried to brush it off with a nervous laugh. Okay, fine. It went too far. We're sorry, all right?" But I wasn't looking for an apology. Not anymore. "Do you even know what it feels like," I said, "to realize your friends think your life is just content?" They didn't answer. That's when the lights on the dock flickered, one of the repairs I'd done earlier. The only light came from the cabin window behind us, faint and orange. I pointed toward the edge. "See that rope?" I asked. "It's tied to the old boat. I fixed it up earlier today. Why don't you both take a ride? I'll push you out just like you did to me." Josh frowned. "You're joking, right?" I didn't reply. I just stared at him. The silence was enough. He finally stepped toward the boat, muttering under his breath, "Man, you're freaking me out." Dylan followed, hesitating, glancing back at me like he wasn't sure if I'd lost it completely. When they sat inside, I untied the rope slowly. The boat drifted a few feet out, rocking gently. "All right, man," Josh yelled. "Funny. You got us. Pull us back in." I just stood there, watching, the same way they had watched me. "Come on," Dylan shouted. "It's not funny anymore." I didn't move. I wanted them to feel that same cold panic I'd felt when I realized no one was coming back. After a minute, I finally tossed them a flashlight. "Figure it out," I said. Then I walked back to the cabin. Inside, I sat by the fire, listening. Their voices echoed faintly across the lake, angry, scared, desperate. They weren't in danger. I made sure the boat was safe, the distance short. I didn't want them dead. I just wanted them to understand. About an hour later, the yelling stopped. I heard splashing, the sound of feet stumbling up the dock. The door burst open and Josh stood there, soaked, shaking, furious. "What the hell is wrong with you?" he screamed. I looked up slowly. "Now you know how it feels," I said. "Now you know what you did." He opened his mouth to say something, but nothing came out. Dylan just stood behind him, pale, staring at the ground. I got up, grabbed my backpack, and walked past them toward the door. "We're done," I said. "Don't call me. Don't text me. And if that video's still up by tomorrow, trust me, it won't end with just a boat ride." Neither of them said a word as I stepped out into the cold night. The fire crackled behind me, the lake quiet again. By the time I reached my truck, the sky was already turning gray. I looked back one last time at the cabin and the two figures standing silently on the dock. Some people learn from pain. Others need to feel it first.